And we are live with another SiX's Social Fix. And it's a good one, folks. A very special episode here with Purplexed.
Hi.
Crime profiler and investigatory channel. This is one thing you don't want to miss, folks. So let us get rolling here. And let me get my chat up here. No? Wow, nobody knew. So sue me. I hope not. How you doing? Hey, Matt. Undead Survivor. Welcome. Monique Fiore. Right. Let's get this on the road. Let me freaking mute that. And let me put this on there because you know what? Hold on. Oh, geez. Woo. What? I am going to kill her. Yeah. Look at all these beautiful people in here. Hi, Sam. Minu. Thank you.
Hey, Mar.
What's up, Mar? That's right. We are here with Purplexed. She is one hell of a criminal profiler and investigation expert, I'm going to say.
Aw, thanks.
And if you don't know Purplexed, I will leave. She has 2 channels, and I will make sure to drop the links in the description below afterwards. Hold on. Let me get back to my, there we go. Because I know you all want to see me. Yeah. All right. This is something I've been waiting for a long time. I've been watching Purplexed now for a few months, and she's got a channel like I've never seen before. Maybe some of you have been privy to run across her or channels like her, but I don't know. But I want to welcome Laura, a.k.a. PurplexedQT, here to SiX's Social Fix. How you doing today, Laura?
Good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much. Thank you for coming on the Fix today, and I've been looking forward to this for a while. I know we're both very busy. You are a busy mother, and you have a lot going on. So I thank you for taking the time out to sit with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And you are so not what I thought you looked like.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought you were like 300 pounds. I don't know why.
That's all right. Voices can be deceiving, I guess, right? But
I don't know why. I just did.
That's all right. But, well, now you know I'm not 300 pounds. Not that that matters. But, hey, Bongo, how you doing? Welcome. Galway girl, welcome.
Hey, Galway girl.
And Long Island girl, hello.
Hey, Long Island girl.
How you guys doing? Welcome. And, you know, it's this funny thing when you run across amazing people here on the YouTube platform. It's one of those things where every once in a while, you run across somebody that that really kind of captivates you. You know, their content is very unique, and I have to say, Purplexed, I have never seen content like yours. I do come from the gaming community here, and as many of my followers, hi Reaper, good to see you, Jonah. You know, I want to start. Let's rewind a little bit here, Laura, and let's go back to like before you even had a channel. You know, you're growing up. You're a little girl. What was the time period which really kind of sparked your interest in all this with your crime stopping capabilities? You're like a superhero. You know, I don't know.
Thank you. Is people gonna think I paid you for all these compliments?
No. I'm just kidding.
I've always been into crime. I've started with true crime when I was like really young, like 12.
Okay.
And I kind of went from, as weird as it's going to sound, I kind of went from becoming an atheist at 13 to really getting into true crime.
Yeah.
And, I studied it and I studied it. And then I was going to be a criminal profiler. And then, life took a different track. And I didn't end up going to school right away. And then, years passed. I went to college right out of high school, didn't finish it, left. Years go by, life changes. And then at like the age of 37, I decided, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to go and be a criminal profiler.
Yeah.
And I knew it's what I wanted to do, or at 34. And I knew it's what I wanted to do. So I went to get my degree in psychology. I got my bachelor's in psychology. Then I went for my master's in criminal justice. Halfway through my master's, I learned that I was too old for the FBI and that they really weren't even doing profiling anymore. I was like, what the hell am I wasting my time for?
Yeah, right.
So, and money. And so I ended up leaving my master's. And then I just was doing different things. And then I figured, all right, I have this degree in psychology. I can do something with it. Then, I had 3 kids and got pregnant with twins. And so then Making a Murderer comes out.
Yes.
And everyone told me to watch it. And I was like, nah, I already know the story. He's guilty, so on and so forth. And then everyone's like, just watch it, just watch it. So I watched it and I was blown away. And the only people that were doing videos, I just didn't agree with. And I'm like, I just don't like these people doing videos. I was like, I'm going to fucking make a YouTube video. Sorry, I curse. I was like, I'm going to make a YouTube video. And that's how my YouTube career started. And then I was just like, you know what? This is so awesome. Like, I can say what I want. And, my oldest videos, I cursed a lot. I did it from a bedroom. I didn't have, I did it from a laptop with a crappy camera.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. I loved digging into cases. I loved, seeing a different angle than other people took.
Yeah.
What I don't like is I don't like regurgitating facts that everybody knows already. I want to find a different angle and I want to look for things differently, like a profiler would do.
Right. And you've done well for yourself with profiling. I mean, your work speaks for itself. Your reputation precedes you, in my opinion.
Thank you.
It's been thank you, Big Pun. Hi, Ghostface. It's definitely something that I enjoy listening to. As we've discussed, I can't always watch everything. I can't really be in chat, but I listen to it, and the way you bring it is so different. And I'm excited for my community to head over there and and follow you and really because I think a lot of people look how many shows that people watch on TV over the last 25 years just based around the thing that you're exactly doing. And the thing that's interesting to me is that you're doing real life cases that really matter. And ongoing cases, and that's important. We need modern day Batmen and Batwomen in the world, more of them, because I think that there's a lot of crap going around everywhere. The world is not, it's a spinning, mud ball of hell sometimes. And I think that it's only, the people around us are the ones that keep us kind of stable. So I think it's good for doing something like you are doing on your channel to kind of delve a little deeper, find that different angle that maybe no one ever thought of.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And maybe, just maybe, if Perplexed, for one day, what if she found that one clue that would solve a case? And I know that's kind of maybe, is that your drive? Like you drive to just help, where a lot of people kind of fail to see that third eye. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right. It's not that I want to solve the case per se. I want to find all the different angles that aren't straightforward, that aren't like, I want people to see things in a different light. For example, I just did this Lauren AG case, and
beautiful woman. I mean, yeah,
it was. I really have not delved into it the way a lot of my subs or Patreons have.
Yeah.
I didn't listen to the podcast. but I took the evidence that I had and formulated opinions. And it turns out that the private investigator that opened up the whole case to being a murder was right on point with everything I was saying.
Yeah.
So, you know, you get situations like that, and it makes me realize, okay, I can actually do this. Like, there's something, like the way I formulate things, like I'm on the right path, you know. Now it's just a matter of continuing to find those kind of cases, being able to match it up with like the investigator or something like that, and, you know, just get it done and make a career out of doing YouTube full time. Hey, you're relative to me. You're not blocked.
No, you're not blocked here. No one blocked. No one is blocked here.
Hey, you might change that after I'm on here.
No, I don't think so. But that's interesting to me. So you started around 12 years old. So right, you know, right at that, and that's a crucial time. So you were
curious kid.
You were very curious, and I understand that, because I started getting into, I think 12 and 13 is a big age to start to get into and start really realizing, and like what's on TV, movies, like things that you see, and then things like relating them to things around you. And the environment that you grow up in. You know, I think environment is a huge thing, you know, that determines an outcome. Like, let's take that for instance. Let me just stop there. Like the criminals, for example, these people that can go around and just hurt and murder and maim. I don't, you know, I'm not that type of person. We were talking earlier, you know, on a private level, on a panel. And like I said, I'm like, you know, the only way I could ever even think about her, like, murdering anybody or harming anybody like that would be if I was protecting my family or if my life was in danger, which I think all of us need to do. You need to protect yourself. You know, and unfortunately, sometimes if someone is out to take your life, whether it be by, you know, desperation, trying to feed their own family, you never know what's going on out there. Or it's a psychopath, you know, just a random, you know, one of the most things. Let me ask you this. Have you ever done any cases about a home invasion? Because I think that's one of the things, that's one of the scariest things that people go through, is our home invasions. You know, I haven't been around your channel that long to reach back that far, but has there been any cases like that, like home invasion cases? Because I've known people, like friends, close friends, that actually have been home invaded and it didn't turn out well.
The only home invasion case that I've done, well, I shouldn't say I haven't done any. Like Darley Router is basically a home invasion.
I haven't heard of that.
Home invasion. Darley Router, it's like 20 years old.
That makes sense now.
The Innocent Project just actually picked it up. So it could take a new turn, but the only ones I've ever done is more on the criminal aspect of, like, the laws in that state say that if somebody, I can't remember the exact case, but if a juvenile is there with that person, they didn't pull the trigger or anything, they get the same murder rap as the person that actually pulled the trigger.
Right.
That kind of stuff I've done.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
That perspective. But the thing with home invasion cases, there's really not that much to look into for the most part, because we're not provided that much information.
That's the scary part. They don't get solved a lot of time. You know, and home invasions are some of the most brutal. I have seen so much brutality, and this is stretching into the dark web. I've seen brutality, like I can't even. It blows my mind. But you know, it is what it is. Crime is crime, and that's one thing that Perplexed here is here to help stop. And you know, and I look up to her for that. You guys will too when you check her out. Again, I will leave links in her of her 2 channels in the description below afterwards. I can't do it right now because it's a Hangouts, but yeah. But you know, she has been one of these channels. You know, as you guys have known in my community, I've been kind of community surfing and kind of broadening my aspects here and my horizons, and kind of meeting face to face all whole new communities, which I never even knew existed. And this is one community that I've really taken to, because the way that Perplexed brings it is in such a positive and constructive way that I really do feel that everybody, and the thing about her, channel is her chats are lit up, and everybody in her chat is absolutely involved, and they have a say, and that's what's really cool about it. So after you discovered, you were saying about, let's rewind a little bit from my lash there at just going off the. But no, you start. So now, when you went through high school, you got your master. Now, what about your channel? Now, when did you start your channel? Like, got the idea? Let's make this public. I want to make it public and show people that I really care about what I'm doing here.
2016. The end was the end of 2016. Beginning. Wait, when did Make It a Murder come out? No. The beginning of 2016, March 2016 was my very first video.
Okay.
And I did it for about a year, and then I took off for about a year, and then I went back. And when I went back, I had a whole new perspective. Like, Make It a Murder 2 came out.
Right.
And then after that was done and ran its course, I'm like, well, now what am I going to do? So I've done some, I decided to venture out into different areas of true crime, and really look for cases. And it's been really hard. I'm not going to lie. Like, very few cases have really like blew me away. Like, oh my God, I have to study this, like Make It a Murderer.
Yeah.
I knew what I didn't. I don't know exactly where the channel is heading exactly, but I do know where it's not heading. Like, I don't want to be like anyone else. I don't want to just take Scott Peterson and do a couple of days on it.
Right.
I don't want to take cases that are old and just regurgitate it. Like, I want to, I want to do more of open cases, cold cases that, obviously I can get my hands on all the stuff.
I'm huge on cold cases. Yeah.
I want to, stuff like Make It a Murder that I can really dig into, really look into, and, try to figure out what somebody is missing. Try to figure out what the cops missed, what they're not grabbing, what they're not, just what they're not seeing.
Yeah.
That's one. And it's been hard finding cases.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, there's so many cases out there. Like, some of these cold cases are just, there's so much evidence, but there's just one piece missing that that eludes the authorities. And it's crazy. We've talked about jumping. Like, what was some of the most? Now, I know you've gone through many cases. A lot. I mean, murders are just rampant everywhere. Unfortunately, I was watching. What was the one video which really intrigued me, and I couldn't see. I just happened to pull my phone out of my pocket, and there was an injury on a young woman on a boat, and it had an imprint on her knee, on one of her legs, I believe it was. And I could not.
That's the Lauren Agee case.
Okay, yeah. That case, I listened to that whole. That was just the way that you brought that. Just really opened my eyes to fine details, if you will. You know what I mean? Like you're saying, those things that you miss, that everyone else misses. Let me ask you this: were you ever interested in getting into it professionally, like as a career?
Yes.
Like as far as like getting in, like maybe FBI or like something like that, like a high end. I don't know the prerequisites to get into anything like that, but you seem very bright. Your IQ is very high, obviously.
It's obviously not. I'm actually very average IQ, but I just think, as crazy as this is gonna sound, I think like an addict, that I just see things differently. I see things not like someone with high intelligence, very high IQ sees things very straight. They see things one way, and they see things that, it has to be this way based on facts.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I think I'm a very logical thinker, but I think outside the box, and that, math can't have just one definitive answer. It may have one ultimate answer, but there's 30 different ways to get that answer.
Yeah.
So, my niche has always been like connecting the dots. That's like what my niche is, just connecting dots. And if those dots can't connect correctly, then you're taking the wrong path. So, I look at it like this. Okay, so I was too old to get in the FBI. But
Okay.
if you look at like singers or even gamers on YouTube or DLive or Twitch, wherever, if you do the right thing, you can make a living at it and you could do what you love to do. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I feel like this, that, singers are making a full living singing, even covers. Gamers are making full-time gaming
Yeah.
as a career, and that's kind of how I feel like this. Like, I want to take my channel to make it like a Nancy Grace. I want to take my channel to make it like a Dateline or like I'm a Patreon to somebody else who adds like 2,000 Patreons a month. I mean, the guy's insane.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of people, a lot of patrons.
His big thing is editing. And that's one thing that I'm having a hard time with. I don't know editing well, and I need to learn it quickly.
Well,
so I can kind of understand it.
Yeah, we should hook up on. Yeah, we should definitely talk about that together privately, because I'm also, and I'm actually, I know I know a little bit about it, and I'm actually getting into it with Streamlabs and OBS, so we can actually kind of learn together. It's always good to have a partner.
Streamlabs I can teach you. I know Streamlabs easy.
Yeah.
But like true video editing, to make a video like Dateline, that's and that's what this other guy does. So that's like the goal, and then do like live shows to discuss it. So that's like within a year what I would like to have done, and then by next year I want to be doing this full time.
Yeah. Well, I believe you will. I mean, you have amazing content. I mean, and I'll just say it. We all have, and that's the same kind of thing that I'm doing. I wanted to start something to help people like you are. Like I just went the talk show route. Like, let's talk to these people and let's get to learn. Let's make friends. We only live once. Come on, let's explore different communities. And I think that that's great. And you do the same thing. I mean, that's great. I know that now that you have a DLive for gaming account, so that's great. And we'll have to talk about that, and then the next day or so, I'll add that to the descriptions below so people can head over there.
Okay.
And it's very interesting to me, the passion that you bring. Were you one of these like nose to the book, or are you still like that? Are you kind of nose to the book, like when you're walking out and you're going for a coffee? In the morning, like, are you thinking about cases? I mean, I know you're a mother, very busy mother of 3. So, I mean, it's a difficult thing to do. Now, are you married?
Legally, yes, but no. I've been divorced a long time.
Oh, have you? Okay, yeah. So, you're even. I mean, you're even. That's a busy life. I have no children. I could not imagine doing what you do. So hats off to you. Hairs off to you.
Thank you.
Because I mean, you mothers are just, amazing, and fathers. I mean, I don't know how you guys do it. But one of the things here I wanted to talk about is the levity of things, the aftermath. There's so many, in your experience, you've studied a lot of cases. And I know that a lot of times it takes a little time for some certain details to come out, especially with family. Have you run into any cases where like family members have really like not withheld information, but maybe forgotten, and which they bring things forward to break the case open that you've kind of been working on? Have you run into anything like that yet?
Yeah, we actually did a case recently.
Oh, interesting.
These drug addicts.
Oh, okay.
It was out of, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot where it was. It was some little town in Georgia. I don't remember the exact city.
Yeah.
But there was a baby that was killed. They were total meth heads.
Oh, geez.
And the family, you could tell the family was lying. The family was like, oh my God. Each time somebody came up, they came up with different information. You found out this one or that. It was just crazy. It was like one of the craziest cases. But yeah, the family lied. The mom lied. You found out the mom maybe was sleeping with the boyfriend, the daughter's boyfriend. Like, it was
Jesus.
It was insane.
Yeah, that's pretty insane. That's a pretty detailed and oriented.
It was a fun case, though. I mean, people that are in here that did the case with me, they'll tell you it was a fun case, though. Like every day, it was different twists and turns by this like methods.
Yeah, that's crazy. That I mean, and you never know what's going to happen. With with those types of individuals. I mean, it's kind of it's up in the air. How you doing, Barbie girl? Welcome.
Hey, Barbie.
Barbie's in here, and it's good to see you. Hi, John. How you doing? Ghost Plays. Welcome. And again, everybody, Perplexed here. I will leave a link in the description below when we are done, and please go sub her up because you guys will absolutely love her. Absolutely, she's amazing, and we're going to get into it a little bit here. I want to talk. Thank you, Barbie girl, for that 100. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing that? Don't do that. Thank you, Barbie.
Guys, sponsor badges. That is it's not for Patreons. That's for gaming. I looked into
it. Yeah, you need to. If you're a gamer, you get sponsorship, and you can kind of adopt a clan of individuals that are amazing that sponsor you monthly, and it's you can only get it by gaming a certain amount of hours. So that's why you'll see I'll flip back and forth because I love gaming. I'm from the gaming community, and I will never forget it. I'm not one of these drama kings that's gonna go out and look for views just because it'll get into and put gaming on the back burner. No, I do my show. But this show ain't about me. It's about Laura here. So I wanted to ask you, Laura, what was I know that everybody has ups and downs, topsy turvy. It's a crazy world. And thank you, Barbie girl. Love you, girl. Thank you for that one amazing, unbelievable $100. I just kind of threw my mind out of there. I know there's ups and downs. It's a roller coaster ride here on this spinning mud ball we call Earth. What would you say would be one of the one cases that really hit your heart? That kind of, and I know there's been probably many that has kind of brought you almost to tears maybe, but what was one that really hit you? What was your hardest hitting case here?
The only case that I truly cried on when I talked about it, and it's a case that's still open. It is called Ethan Harschwitz. He was a twin who was murdered by a 15-year-old brother.
Wow. I never heard of that.
Okay. They had such a messed up life. And these kids were in and out of DHS, DCS, whatever, CS. Were coming to visit them every other day and left them in this situation and left them in this horrible scenario. And mom's on drugs and dad's on drugs and in and out of jail. And this 15-year-old and his brother, his twin brother, and two other sisters were taken over to family, relative. And I brought the case up because it was like brand new, and it was the same Manitowoc County that happened in that Making a Murderer happened in, which caught my interest. But when I started looking into the case, it was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I went to deliver the story, and I could not stop crying.
Yeah.
And that really hit home. And it's still ongoing. It's like it just happened in February. He died this year. Oh, wow. But I got in touch with the family because that's another thing I do. I always try to get interviews from people close to it. And I have the mother in my Facebook group for the we have an Ethan Harschwitz Facebook group. I have the mother in there. I'm friends with the father. And then I did an interview with the other side, the kid who killed him's uncle. And that was a really great interview as well. And there's a lot of drugs. There's a lot of messed up things once you start looking into the case. But the father, the stepfather, whatever, the uncle, whoever you want to call him, he tried to, both the guardians try to blame it on the 15-year-old. And
oh, that's great.
I mean, he actually did it, but they tried to get out of jail by really putting it on
him. That's just, that's pretty crappy too.
The judge wouldn't buy it. So they go to court in November.
Yeah.
So we're just kind of sitting still until then.
So that's ongoing. So that's interesting. Yeah. Okay.
but that's probably the case that hit me the worst. And I was like crying. I was like, I've never cried on a case before. I'm sorry, guys.
That's why I asked. I asked the hard-hitting questions.
Yeah.
So
I couldn't stop tearing.
But there's an element of comedic relief, and not so much comedic relief, but maybe let's say just plain relief. What was one of the cases that really gave you that sense of justice? That I'm really glad I covered this case. I'm really glad this mother freaker got nailed here.
Making a murderer, but in a different direction.
Yeah. Okay.
That's Making a Murderer, just because it's Making a Murderer, and it's where I started, and there was so much to the case, and there was so much to look at, and there were so many angles to take, and just everything that I uncovered in the case, and was right on point with the attorneys, and it was very satisfying.
Yeah.
I also spent over a year on it, so I mean there'll be another case like that again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's and that's the thing. It's never going to stop.
Mm-hmm.
No, it'll never stop. But someone said earlier in the chat, the thing about criminal profiling and the crime that goes on, you're never going to run out of material. So it is what it is.
Exactly.
I mean, it's pretty crazy. It really is. I want to thank everybody for coming in here too. Just take a little brief back up in the chat here. Tyra Boo, yes. Marty McFly, how you doing? Love that movie. Long Island girl still with us. Samantha, Barbie girl. Thank you again, Barbie. How you doing, Joe? Tawanda, how you doing tonight, Tawanda?
Hey, I got a question about the sponsors.
Yes.
Because I know you don't need like a lot of hours if you have a channel already.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I can help you if I know. I can try to help you with anything I know. I mean,
no. What I was going to ask is, what if you stop gaming? Do you have to continue to game once you meet the hours?
Yes, it's almost. I'm pretty sure it's like monetization. You pretty much have to acquire a certain. I don't know. Don't mark my word, but I would assume the way that Google works is an AdSense is if you have a certain amount of. You need a certain amount of hours of gaming to continue the sponsorship.
How do they know it's gaming though?
Well, that. You ever? I know your daughter streams. You ever see? Does she stream on Xbox or PlayStation? It doesn't matter what she streams on.
No, so you're talking my little son, my 11-year-old. He streams on Mixer and Twitch.
Oh, he streams on Mixer and Twitch. Now, okay, so now I don't stream on Twitch, but normally they will have a moderator with a little black and gray box that's blacked out, and that will. It's basically a automated system that kind of takes in the information of your stream and then relays it back to the algorithm.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So they know everything you're doing. So it is what it is. But yeah, for me, I try to keep a fine balance between the talk show and between like gaming and stuff, just to keep the sponsorship up.
No, I
you know what I mean? But it's definitely something. It's definitely something to utilize, especially if you're reaching out to other gaming, to other communities, not gaming, but other communities. But it's something great. Hi, Sydney. How you doing? Great to see you. And Harry Cooter Dix, right?
Harry's great.
Mm-hmm.
Because my Patreons were like, "Hey, we want that."
They want that. Yeah. Well, that's one of the cool things too. When you do get that for gaming, you do get this badges, and some of my sponsors, Apples and Babs can show you my crazy faces. You can upload any type of photo you want, and you can also podcast episodes. Sydney. Well, I mean, I don't really need. I mean, you can. I mean. Spotify, no. I mean, YouTube, I'm fine with just doing YouTube. I mean, they provide me the luxury of free streaming here.
That's true.
So I'm pretty loyal. But Sydney, that's a great idea. I mean, thank you for those. Yeah, those are a bunch of me just doing stupid faces. And those are and as you get more sponsors, you can open up more. So then I'd be able to make 10 of them instead of 5 of them. but they're just stupid little faces that I do. I got a Snapchat one in there, and I yell at you, and then I got an evil one, and whatever. What is that called? Oh, Six Evil. Yeah, that's right. But so we talked about like the hard hitting ones. We talked about the lighthearted ones. Now, what is the one case right now, Laura, that is really irking you, that is ongoing, that is still being investigated? Or is there one or maybe two of cases you're working on right now that really have your attention?
No.
No?
Because we're either waiting for it to go to trial.
Oh, I get it. Yep. Okay.
I mean, making a murder is still always going to be in my heart because I've just spent so much time on it.
Yeah.
But it's just not going anywhere. That's the problem. Like, it's just
Right.
dead at the moment. So we're just waiting for that. But, there's really the Lauren Agee case I just kind of finished. There's another case that the same private investigator is doing that seems pretty interesting. I just haven't had time to look at it yet.
Yeah.
And that's like a suicide case. I think I'm going to stay away from kid cases though, because I melt. So it's kind of hard for me to do it. But I mean, do I have any definitive case I'm working on right now? No, not yet. But I'm looking for the next, my next case.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, it's probably right around the corner, Laura.
I think it's going to be this Jonathan case that this private said, because it looks pretty interesting. And a couple of people have done it.
Yeah, I haven't heard about that. What's that about?
I forgot the guy's last name, but he was ruled a suicide, and his girlfriend got off scot-free, and it turns out that his girlfriend's probably most likely very guilty. So the way the gun was positioned and everything else, and she told me, and I don't know if you know Gray Hughes, he's working on it as well. And
wasn't he on your panel the other day?
Yes. Yeah. And he was telling me all about it, and he said it's a very interesting case.
Yeah.
And I said, but it's like a dime a dozen. Like that happens all the time. He said, but there's a lot more to it. There's reasons why nobody's being charged. And so it should be good.
Yeah. And that's always interesting to me. So many of these cases just kind of sit there in limbo, and it's amazing to me. I mean, the amount of money just being just spent on keeping these criminals in jail. It's people say, I was growing up Catholic, right? I went to Catholic schools, and my theology teachers would always say, well, it's always better to keep a man alive than keep him in jail. It's less money. It's less money to keep him in jail, and that's not true at all.
I agree.
And and I'm not. That has nothing to do with any religion or anything. But I'm just saying, it's funny to me that the way that karma works sometimes you just don't, sometimes I feel that it fails us sometimes. You know what I mean? Like some people get away with absolute, literally murder. And what does make a murder? Like these early signs have now, in most of your cases now, have you found that there was early signs of these murderers? The people that are committing these horrendous crimes, have you noticed that it's actually there's traces of almost well, we should have seen it coming? Or was this most of your cases in your experience out of the blue?
The cases that hey, Sean, the cases that I do, that I like, that I want to cover, are more cases like that you couldn't see it coming. You had no way it was coming. You were totally out of the blue. I mean, if you look into the history of these people, definitely possible. If you look into the, go back to this guy had a weird, a weird upbringing. Yeah, you could do that. But by the time the case hits the news, you'd have no way to know. For example, there's a case that I'm trying to get more information on out of Florida.
Okay.
This guy is a 19-year-old kid, grew up, nice home, couldn't see anything coming, got into drugs, but he was a typical college kid with a good future ahead of him.
Right.
And he ended up getting high one night on something. They think it was steroids mixed with acid, mescaline, flacco, who knows?
Jeez.
But the guy was eating dinner with his parents, discussing his future. Something hit him, and he ended up going to this couple's house who had a garage open, stabbed them both to death, and then was found by the cops eating the guy's face, like literally.
Oh, not even on bath salts either, right?
Problem is, there's just not enough information on it yet. Like he was supposed to go to trial in June, and he's not going until I think another one in November.
Right.
He's just, I mean, it's such a great case, but there's nothing to it yet. Like you just get a few basic, news reports, and it's so frustrating because I'm like, now this is a good case.
Yeah.
Nothing to it yet.
Wow.
So, something like that, there's no way that anyone could have predicted this. Like,
yeah. And that's the thing. And that's like one of these things that are going on right now with school shootings, unfortunately. It seems to me these things come out of nowhere overall, but then you talk to the students and it feels, well, yeah, this kid was a little bit off, and now what would you say about this, Laura? I mean, I've always been a big advocate, of parents parenting. You need to be involved in your child's life. I am not a parent, so I can't sit here and talk about like I know what I'm 100%. But the more that you get involved, whether you be I think a lot of times nowadays, at least there's a percentage of parents that want to be kind of more friendly to their kids than a parent, and I think that they may cost them in the long run. Do you agree with that?
No. And I'm going to tell you why. I personally think a lot of it's genetics.
Okay.
I have two out of three of the most amazing kids. My twins my son is ranked number 5 in his school.
Oh, nice.
Genius. He is a straight A student, cries if he doesn't get an A. He wants to go to MIT. He is on the football team. He's just an amazing, amazing kid. Plus, he has Asperger's, which makes him even more amazing. And he grew up without a dad. And it was just me. And I'm like the craziest mom ever.
Yeah.
His twin is also a straight A student. Obviously grew up the same. And then my little one's a gamer hardcore, but he's really good at it.
Yeah.
But he's got some issues.
Yeah.
But not with school. He's still a straight A student. And I mean, I'm honest with my kids. I tell them, most of the stuff I've done, and now that they're older in high school, but I've told them, and my kids will say, "Mom, you're crazy." And I'd be like, "You know what? You have two choices. I can either be crazy, Mom, and be cool, or I can be strict like all your other parents' moms. What would you have?" They're like, "Mom, do not ever change." So, I'm definitely not the stereotypical mom. I'm definitely not a soccer mom. And I have great kids. They listen. So I think a lot of it has to do with genetics. I really do. I just think they have good genes and they're just great kids.
They're from good stock, Laura. They're from good stock.
I mean, honestly, like I see my little one having some issues with, things that I hope he doesn't, but I see it already. My twins, it's just people say, "Oh, you're such a good mom," but I'm not. I don't really do that much. They're just good kids. So,
well, that's great. I mean, and it's good to have good kids. I was a pretty good kid. You slapped me out back with a hose and a couple of GI Joes, I'm good for the day when I was young. Other than that, I had good parents. What about your upbringing, Laura? Can I ask about we talked about all this. Let's get to know Laura a little bit here for just a spell. Like when you were growing, how was your family life? Was it like, did you have a good family life growing up, or do you have siblings, like brothers or sisters or anything?
I have a brother who's a New York City cop.
Ooh, nice.
Probably one of the best upbringings someone could ask for.
Yeah.
I grew up in New York City, and then Long Island.
Ooh, Long Island, baby. Nice.
I mean, honestly, I grew up in a wealthy family, but I also had a lot of love. I had one of the most amazing fathers anyone could ask for.
Yeah.
And he
Awesome.
died a couple of years ago, but I I wouldn't change a thing about my upbringing. I really
Me
I
neither. Yeah, me neither.
I have no regrets. No.
You have a brother that's okay. Yeah, I have 3 older sisters, so I know how, I can relate to women's views a little bit more than men's, almost. It's kind of weird. But, because, I mean, they were all spaced out 3 years apart, Laura. So it was like, boom, boom, I had everything. I learned everything. Ironically, I'm not married and have no children. I don't know if I'm smart or if I'm stupid.
No, it's smart. I'm away for a couple weeks, and I mean, I make no bones about it. I'm like, hey, you guys want to stay gone longer? Like, I want to stay out longer.
Yeah, that's great. That's
But
great.
I never wanted kids, and then I got pregnant with twins on a total fluke.
Yeah, well, twins are twins. So that means, Nick, that's funny because, aren't twins like bi-generational? Like they're very likely one generation, then they may skip and then another. Or is that something that is ongoing? Do you know anything?
That's how it's supposed to be, but I don't have any twins in my family.
Okay.
My twin's dad did. He's got a couple sets, but I didn't have any in my family.
Okay, so you started it. It's your fault. Yeah, that's great. And and I'm sure your kids are great. And
Yeah, they're good kids. They're really good kids.
that's good, man. That's great to learn because and having good relationship with your children, I think, is big. And that's one thing that and stemming back, and everyone thinks we're going off track, but we're really not, because I think good parent. I'm going to say it, but I truly believe, though, genetics. I agree, genetics do, but good parenting, Laura. I mean, to teach your kids what's right and wrong. I think if you teach your kids what's right and wrong, it's easier for you to say, I did what I could, if they turn out to be a real scumbag. But other than that, I mean, it is. I do see what you're talking about. I mean, if people have certain ways about them that is genetically introduced to them, it's going to be harder for them to kind of keep control of themselves. I mean, like ADHD, ADD, that's a huge thing that's been on the rise the last 30 years, and my father always used to tell me, "Well, I swear you should go to that." Well, I'm like, well, I don't, maybe I do, maybe I don't. I don't know.
See, you know what it is. What I mean about genetics, like I couldn't ask for a better upbringing, and I was a total fuck up.
Right.
And I did drugs, and I did this, and I did everything wrong, even though I had the most amazing upbringing and the greatest parents. My kids, on the other hand, except for my little one, but I've never punished them. I've never hit them. Like I've taken away stuff for a minute, but I'm a softie and I always end up giving it back.
Yeah.
Within like an hour. So, and yet they're still very respectful. They've always been respectful. They're not screw ups. They really care about grades, and I've never had to discipline them. So that's what I mean. Why I say it's like genetics.
Yeah. Well, that's a good point. That's a good point. It's always, and this is the exact point of these types of sit downs, is to find out other people's points of view. And not just like say, oh, I'm the only, I have thought for so many years, it's so funny, Laura, when you grow up, right? And when you're 18, you know everything, right? But then when you're 21, you look back when you're 18 and say, boy, I didn't know anything.
Uh-huh.
And then when you're 24, you look back when you were 21 and say, boy, I was an idiot. And when you're 30 and look back when you're 24, you're like, boy, I acted like a 13-year-old.
Exactly.
It's crazy thing when you grow up, and that's one of the things that I enjoy about growing up. I don't mind being 42 and a little older. It's little, I mean, I've been gaming for a long time, and I just had a really cool experience starting a channel with my gaming and all that stuff, like you do with your your profiling and criminal investigatory. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't, what the heck? Like, I mean, YouTube is great for the platform as a platform, because you can bring any type of material here and they will promote you if you bring good content. And this is another person, you know, she's pushing 8 grand here. She on just, well, actually, she's probably got, what do you got over? You're pushing 15,000 subs with 2 channels.
No,
Oh, you got 7,000, at least almost 8,000 on one.
and then 3,000 on the other.
No, I thought that was 5,000. Well, we're going to get there because you deserve it. You're one of these YouTubers that really brings important content. You know, and I'm going to say it, you know, and it's a shame. There's so much content out there. People want to use other people's, and I'm just going to say it. People want to use like people's deaths as like revenue. Get the hell out of here. You know, you're not fooling anybody, man.
I agree.
Leave, you know, people want to make all these videos about Attica and stuff. Leave him alone, man. I never even heard about him until he died. I'm not going to pretend like I'm mourning. I'm not going to pretend and make a video on him and put his name in my title for views. That you're a disrespectful cur in my eyes. You know what I mean? These mothers, I mean, I don't know. It is one of those things, but you know, stemming back, you know, you started your channel. Now, so we talked about how you got involved. We talked about how you grew up and how you got into all this, all the criminal aspects of solving with criminal profiling and investigation. Now, what is your future plans for it? As far as like, do you have anything else coming up here in the future? I know you're waiting on cases to be solved, and that's pretty much, there's nothing anyone can do about that. Yeah, you know how long cases can go on. You know, and now I know you were born in New York. You come from New York. You're in another state right now. What is the crime rate around where you live? Do you find a lot of, are you ever vigilant on looking for local crimes? I'm sure you are around your area.
There is none around my area.
Well, that's good.
Like a town away, there's some, but it's like here, there's virtually no crime. In a couple of towns over, like the state itself, the state of Alabama has one of the worst jail systems, but it's not near me.
Yeah.
Like the system here is just horrible, I'm told. I mean,
really?
I don't have it personally, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it is what it is. I guess we all have to deal with our own, you know, local issues. I mean, you know, I live in the middle of, I'm up on a mountain in the middle of nowhere. You know, there ain't no cops around here. You know, if something were to happen out here, no one's going to be coming around for a while, you know? So it is what it is. You know, but what about other different types of, you know, we were talking about your channel a lot. We've been talking about you a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more about you here and just find out, like, what other interests do you have now? Now, I know that you're obviously interested in busting scumbags and pieces of garbage. What else do you do? When you're not busting crime as Batwoman, what do you do in your spare time? Besides being a wonderful mother and, you know, all that.
I like gaming.
Oh, you do like it. What's your favorite video game?
Favorite video game, I wouldn't say I have one.
Yeah. Okay.
I would say I like racing games. I like GTA 5, but I also like a lot of VR games.
Yeah.
And I don't like I'm not like a Fortnite fan. Like I don't have one particular one that I'm so head over heels in love with.
Yeah.
I like a variety. Yes, I mow my lawn. I love VR games. That's what I do love.
So you have VR. So what's your rating on the VR now?
What do you mean my rating?
Like, what do you have a PlayStation VR system or do you have
PC? I do everything PC.
Okay, so you got a PC. So like, what's your rating on, like, what would you say, you know, comparative wise to just watching on the TV? Is it that much more immersive? Would you suggest it?
It depends. And I say it depends, like, it depends what you like.
Yeah.
I actually haven't used mine in a while, only because I just haven't had time.
Sure.
But if you like games like Fortnite, you're not going to like VR. If you like games that are exploratory, then you'd like VR.
You know, the first game I saw was Batman. And I was like, I can be Batman. I need VR. and then it was the bridge crew, the Star Trek bridge crew.
I heard that sucked.
Huh?
I heard that sucked.
Really? I heard that was like awesome, but then again, I don't know. That's why I'm asking about it. But very interesting though. I did do the Samsung phone like thing with the dinosaurs and stuff. That was really awesome. But that's all I've done. That's my VR experience. I'd love to do horror games in VR, like a game like Friday the 13th. The game. Imagine that in VR.
Let me tell you something. I bought Paranormal Experience for VR.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I was fucking scared to death, and it was, and everyone's like laughing at me, like, "Why are you scared? It's a game." I said, "Because you forget it's a game."
Yeah.
And walking and. You're in pitch black and you're walking into a haunted house and you don't know if somebody's going to jump out at you. And it's so scary. Both the developers, and I was like, I can't believe how scared I am. Like, it was really weird. And then, after you play it a couple times, you get used to it. But the first time, I was literally scared.
That's awesome.
And it was freaky. But, then they have a lot of workout games. But I have an Oculus Rift, and if I had to do it again, I got my Oculus Rift for free from Facebook.
Okay.
But that's a whole nother story. But
yeah.
That's why I have a Rift. But if I had to buy one, I would definitely go with PlayStation. PlayStation is a lot more like, what's it called? I want to say shooter games. Oh my God. First person shooter games.
Oh yeah, FPS, yeah.
And it's got more of a variety. So if I actually had to buy one, I would recommend doing the PlayStation.
Yeah. Well, that's what I run. I use a PS4. Hi, Nicole. How you doing, honey? Thanks for coming in. Yes, Harry Cooter Dix, indeed.
See, the thing with VR though is you also have to be a single player. You can't be. There are very few multiplayer games for VR.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed that. I did notice that. Again, I've never tried it, and they just announced PS5, PlayStation 5 coming out next year. So I'm wondering if they're going to have anything in there for like a built-in VR system. I haven't heard anything. Probably not, but
they make too much money.
They make $400. Why wouldn't they just make $400 extra bucks? You know what I mean?
More than that, I think PS4. The PS VR is like $700.
Is it now?
It was. I don't know.
It was $400, but then I don't know. They might have upgraded it, so you never know with that stuff. So, but yeah, crime is rampant, folks. Crime is something that's not going away. It's probably going to get worse, and you know what? That's the bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
It's people here like Purplexed who bring us information and facts that we may not have thought about before. So we need to take a look at these great, this great content and these great channels that she has going on. Thank you, Marty McFly, because I'm a nice guy. Well, I try to be nice, Marty. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You're a handsome young man there in that picture. One of the best movies ever, Back to the Future. What's one of your favorite movies, Laura? Top 5. I'll make it easy for you.
Top 5. Grease.
Grease. Nice.
Pulp Fiction.
Oh, Pulp Fiction, the diner scene. Yes.
Goodfellas.
Oh, yeah. Mr. De Niro. Yep. Ray Liotta. Giving shout outs everywhere. Oh, she has her list down, folks. You hearing this? I asked her for one top 5. I want to know if you know all top 5. Tell us our top.
I know, Mark. You see the pattern of John Travolta in that? Breakfast Club is another one. I'll buy
Breakfast Club. Yes.
Breakfast Club.
Rain.
And
Club, yeah.
That's about it. That's all I can think of.
Here's an interesting fact. My sister Elizabeth was a stand-in for Demi Moore in About Last Night. Yes. My parents owned a house on 28 Magnolia Avenue in St. Augustine, Florida, and they just happened to film that movie about last night there with Rob Lowe and Demi Moore. And my sister had a scene where she got into the car, and they didn't want Demi getting in because they were afraid that she was going to bump her head. True story. I'm not shitting you. I'm not kidding around. And it was cool. That was one of my most. I mean, I never got to see anybody. My mom has like Polaroid pictures of like Rob Lowe's chair back in the day and stuff, but that's about it. Rocky Horror Show. Ooh. Hellraiser, Nightmare on Elm Street, Jackie Brown, Psycho, and 9 to 5. I never heard 9 to 5. Who was in that?
Dolly Parton.
Oh, I didn't. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen a lot of Dolly Parton movies, although I give her much respect for being a queen of the South. What else is going on in chat? Harry Cooter Dix. I keep seeing Harry Cooter Dix. Yeah, Jackie Brown. I don't even know what my, actually, I do. I really love what's your thoughts on Chevy Chase, Laura? Because when I grew up, National Lampoon's Vacation was all about, and then the European, and then, I don't know, John Candy, The Great Outdoors, Summer Rental. I'm going to say one of my top 3 movies is definitely Summer Rental with John Candy. There's just no doubt about it.
I love John Candy. It was good.
John Candy, God rest his soul. All the Belushi. These guys are just great. What about, did you ever were you ever big into Saturday Night Live and that kind of comedy?
Not really. I mean, I watched a little, but I've always been more of I don't want to say a dark kind of person.
Yeah.
But, and by the way, if you haven't seen the series Dark on Netflix, one of the best series I've ever watched.
Oh, no, I haven't. I'll check it out.
One of the best I've ever seen.
Nicolesqua.
It is so fantastically done. I've been recommending it to everybody. There's 2 seasons on it. First season was mind-blowing. Second season was just as mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But I always watched crime or trials. I never got into stupid comedy. Like, yeah. I don't know. I never got into what's his name? Jim Carrey.
Yeah. Yeah. Jim's going through some stuff right now too.
He's a freak.
Oh yeah. That's why you haven't seen him. He's had a couple deaths, unfortunately. So he's dealing. Old Jim's all right. He's going to be back any minute. Don't worry about it. Yeah, Chevy. That's the thing. I followed Chevy Chase on Twitter. I've been on Twitter for 5 years almost. And Chevy is not very outspoken. A lot of people say he's an asshole. Maybe, but I gotta respect him. He is part of it, and I'll say it and I'll even I grew up. It's crazy. The people that you grow up with. Do you find yourself the different shows and the different personalities that you experienced when you were young kind of formulated to who you are now in a little bit of way, humor wise and stuff?
Not really, because what I mean by that is I loved some of my favorite actors growing up or actresses. Right. I loved Demi Moore. I loved Rob Lowe. I loved
St. Elmo's Fire. Yeah, it was about St. Elmo's Fire.
John Stamos, John Travolta. So they weren't Meg Ryan. They weren't really people to adapt to per se. I just love their acting. I love their personalities, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I got into that too. When I first started getting into movies, again, as I said, I had 3 older sisters, so I was very privy to when I was the first movie I was ever shown with watching my sisters was St. Elmo's Fire, and that had pretty much the Brat Pack in it. You know what I mean? Whatever happened to what was not Emilio, Judd Nelson? Remember? I'll bet you love Judd Nelson. That guy had such attitude in him. Breakfast Club, he was great in that.
I did.
I mean, Judd Nelson just had such attitude. There's not many actors that bring it like Judd did back then. You know, it's pretty cool. Uh-oh, meowing in the chat. I look like what? Yeah, Judd Nelson.
I tell you, I ended up dating a lot of bad boys and Guidos from my idols growing up.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's, I mean, you know who I had the biggest crush on? Was freaking Molly Ringwald. Ever since.
Everyone told me I looked like her growing up. Everyone just telling me that all the time. Like, you look just like Molly Ringwald. I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I was like, really?
Oh, geez. Well, I am going to take a 1-minute break because my dog's sitting here and he needs to go out. But other than that, I'll be right back and we'll just continue. Sorry about that. And let me, you guys can catch up with Laura here in the chat. And I'll only be 1 minute. Let me let him out and I'll be right back.
All right.
The floor is yours.
There aren't Guidos here. I know it. I don't even know what that. You don't know what a Guido is? A Guido is like Godfather movies. What's the word? Goodfellas. Jersey Shore guys. They're Italians from New York, Jersey, that they think they're badasses. They're kind of like Italian bad boys. I guess there's no other way to put it. How do I explain a Guido? A Guido would be like the Sopranos. They were Guidos. The kids were Guidos, if that helps. I guess that's like the best way to explain it. Not meatballs. Obnoxious ego. No, not really obnoxious ego. Not all of them. A lot of them are just really good guys. They're just Italian and they grew up in New York City, and that's kind of just Guidos. Italian bad boys. Kind of. Like literally the teens from Goodfellas, Sopranos, the kids. Richard Greco. He was cute. He got really ugly. He was cute. Johnny Depp in like 21 Jump Street was kind of like a Guido. But that's what a Guido was. I mean, pretty much every Italian in New York, teenage-wise, if they were from certain areas, were a Guido. It was all about kind of like an attitude. It was all about having an attitude, all about like, you know, you're better. Not that you're better than everyone, but like, you know, you're cool. You take care of yourself. You worry about your looks, you know, and you're like a gangster, or you try, you know, you think you're a gangster. And that's about it. Guido is equal to it. No, it's not. Guido is not a preppy guy at all. Sunday dinner. Yeah, Sunday dinner. Had to be home by 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
No, for Sunday dinner.
No.
The Guidos.
The Guidos?
Uh-huh.
So what, let me ask you this. I am Swedish, German, and Scottish. What nationalities do you derive from?
I am German, Austrian, Russian, and Italian.
Woo! Russian! You know, growing up, oh, dang, I forgot I had that there. You know, I went to school I was in high school in the 90s. So I was an 80s baby with great movies, again, with Chevy Chase, like Spies Like Us and Dan Aykroyd. And they were always in this. When I was growing up, there was always a Russian threat. So Russians all intrigue me. I love Russians. So anybody that's got Russian in them, I'm just like, we have a floor cleaner at work his name's Boris, and he is straight-ass Russian. And he's talking on FaceTime to Russia. I'm like, dude, can I say hi? He lets me say hi and everything to like, you know, not Moscow. I forget what little town it is, but very cool. Phil Green, what's up, man? And Harry Cooter Dix. I'm liking some Harry Cooter Dix right now about now here, Laura. All right, let me just put that out there. That's one hell of a supporter over there. You got
Harry is one of the best trolls you're ever gonna meet.
Yes, I love you, Harry Cooter Dix. And again, everybody, for coming in. This is PurplexedQT. She is a professional. I would say, well, yeah, she is a professional criminal profiler and investigatory advocate of let's get the hell these criminals off the street. And I am more than fortunate to have her here on my channel here and panel. And I will leave links to her links of her channels in the description below afterwards. So make sure, guys, she can scroll up as well and find her in the chat. You can sub to her that way on PurplexedQT. We're just shooting the shit here tonight and having a good time. I've been fortunate enough. She's been giving me a little bit of time to sit down with her and get to know her better. Barbie Girl is the one I can thank for kind of hooking us up and saying, you know, these are two good people that need to talk about it. So thank you again, Laura, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, of course. You know, and, you know, as we wind down, I just, you know, it's really cool what you've done over there. I think you're bringing a positive, obviously a positive turn on really shitty situations. And, you know, you look, as you said, you look for those angles that, you know, that the others don't look for. Now, what would you say is some of the things that really, you know, not everybody has that extra drive to find that extra angle. Is there something inside you that you think you would say that really sparked your interest to get that extra angle? Because that's an important part in crime solving.
I don't think it was anything that triggered it. I think I just think
it was just there.
Like, I don't know how else to put it. I just think differently. I don't want to, you know, everybody can look at something the same way. I want to try to find a different way that can either help or maybe not help, you know, just trying to see something, you know, a different way for it.
And, you know, and I can absolutely understand, appreciate, you know, I try to do the same thing and follow in your footsteps as far as that, you know, kind of bring another, I don't know, how would I put it? Kind of bring another medium, another platform for people to express their opinions, give their side of the story, give, as I say, their 9 cents, because 2 cents is never enough, Laura. Exactly. So I give them 7 extra cents. And you're just like that. And I hope that everybody, you know, will head over and support Laura and her cause, because it's one of the causes out here that is not this besmirched type of negative type of community. She has a great community. Her people are very supportive. They have a lot to say, and they're very intelligent, like my community. So I think it's a good meld. And I think that we can learn a lot from each other. You know, Perplexed also does game. She does have a D Live channel, and I will post that in the description below. Once I find that, I'm gonna have to do a little more, but I'm gonna post her YouTube channels down there, so you guys can enjoy all her great content. And make sure to hit that bell for her. She actually is pretty much live this time of night most of the time.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, except for nights where she's so nice that she comes on and spends time with me.
Absolutely.
But I want to wind it down and say thank you to PurplexedQT. She is amazing, and her channel is nothing short than absolutely 100% killer.
Thank
you. No pun intended.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And just so you guys know, that my main channel is Crime Channels PurplexedQT. That's it. My D Live is DLive/PurplexedQT. And then my drama channel is Laura Keck.
Woo! Oh, that's right. You know what? I'm subscribed to that one. I got to get the others though. I didn't know you had. I didn't know you had a regular. Okay, I'm gonna have to look them up.
Yeah, my second channel is the drama channel. It wasn't supposed to be a drama channel. It started because my main channel got shut down for 90 days. My content strike. So I
Yeah,
started,
and that's a drama in itself. So that
and
works.
somehow it came into a drama channel.
Yeah. Well,
So
it has been one hell of a night talking and sitting down with you, Laura. It's been amazing. I really want to thank you for bringing yourself and taking the time to talk to me here and bringing your community along for the ride.
really great
I'm
interview. Like, honestly, thank you so much for having me, and we will totally do it again.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you're going to have to keep us updated. We're going to have to do another one, a part 2, folks, here, because she's got a lot of cases here on the back burner that, unfortunately, the digital system, it takes time. So, when that comes to pass, we will bring you the action. And you can find the action first over there at PurplexedQT. And again, I will be leaving the links for her 2 channels in the description below. And you guys can head over there and see for yourself the great work that she does here on the YouTube platform.
Thank you, Donald. And then I'm going to interview you too.
Oh, sure. Anytime.
Channel.
I've never been interviewed, I don't think. So, I've been interviewed once. I've been interviewed once by Barbie Girl. She interviewed me. That was a good interview.
All right.
She did a good job on it. But I want to thank everybody for coming in here, the Perplexed community, as well as the international family. I love all you guys. And Perplexed, you have anything to say to the folks here before we end up?
Nope. Guys, thanks for coming in, and for all the new people, thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you guys, and I will see you guys again.
Absolutely.
And you guys have a fantastic night. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And guys, make sure you check out the link tomorrow if you're going to be heading to bed, because I will have her channels in the description below. And once again, thank you. Thank you, Perplexed, for taking the time to sit down. And we will catch up soon.
Absolutely. I will talk to you later.
Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Until next time, folks, on SiX's Social Fix, be safe, be sound, and make sure you treat each other right.